And we back after a long 2 weeks. I know our viewers couldn't handle these 2 weeks.
Yeah,
I don't know how they made it, dude.
Better content.
So, just a recap. The reason why we haven't uploaded in a while, I went to California for a week. How was my trip, you ask? My trip was interesting, to say the least. I mean, I had 2 nice days in San Diego.
Right.
And then I started to get sick. I thought I had, like, a flu. Because, I went in airports, I went on a plane, I went to a zoo. I'm like, all right, I caught, like, a cold or something.
Mm-hmm.
And that cold, after going to, like, ERs and shit, I'm not going into details, it's not really much of a point. But after going to, like, ERs and shit, I found out I had appendicitis. So, I mean, it was lovely, actually. Yeah. Great. I had to get some surgery to remove my appendix. So I had to, like, push back my flight 2 days. So I landed Friday night. So, like, we really couldn't. We just haven't been able to record until now.
Yeah.
This is really good. We tried doing, like, a face cam recording in the car, but it was absolutely dreadful.
Oh, it's terrible. It was terrible.
For our 10 subscriber special, we'll upload one of the clips. For our 10 subscriber special, we're uploading one of the clips.
Sure. You don't want to see it though. It's quite.
Nah. When we get to 10 subs, when we reach that milestone in our lives, we'll give you a clip. That's all we'll say. It's a great clip. All right. So we're finally gonna touch on NBA free agency. None of our podcasts at this point have touched on it, and everything's. The only really move that could happen now is Chris Paul would get traded, but like that's just kind of an irrelevant move.
Yeah.
Realistically, unless he gets bought out and then goes to like the Lakers or something. I've heard rumors about that, but I believe it when I see it.
Yeah.
So we're just gonna go with the classic way to go over free agency: the winners, the middlers, and the losers. So we'll start off with We'll start off with the winners. Actually, who's your first winner?
My first winner is the Nets.
The Nets.
I think it's fairly obvious. They secured 2 superstars, Kyrie and KD.
That is true.
Putting themselves into contention. Maybe not this year because it's just Kyrie and then their supporting cast. But like the 2020-2021 season, I'd say they're definitely title contenders.
Yeah. The Nets were one of my winners. I mean, it's pretty simple. They got Kyrie, KD, and DeAndre Jordan, and the other team that was rumored to get them were the Knicks. They're both in New York, so they kind of won over New York in a sense because the Knicks aren't going to be as good as them for a while. And this kind of like solidified like their culture, their coaching. They still got good role players in LeVert and Dinwiddie and Jared Allen to build around. So yeah, they're in a great spot. It's just my only worry with them. Like I thought about putting them as a middler, just because like it's really hard for a player to come back as it's like really hard for somebody to come back from a torn Achilles and be the same.
I don't know, on another level.
That's true, but
even if he isn't as good, it's still worth the deal, kind of.
It depends on I think he's going to be that around 85 to 90% of what he was, which is obviously still an all-star caliber player. I just don't think that with this injury he can be a number 1 on a title team. That's just my opinion. I think that obviously right now the East, the only contenders that I see right now are the Bucks and the Sixers after free agency happened. So it's not like the East is as stacked as the West is, so they would benefit from that. But I don't know, dude. I have questions about Durant being able to lead a team to a title after, rupturing his Achilles. I don't know. I just kind of raised an eyebrow there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that was one of your winners.
Yeah. I mean, I gotta put him at a winner. Like they won.
Right.
Yeah. I got to.
Yeah, makes sense. All right. So I will say one of my meddlers.
Oh, we're going that way. Okay. Yeah. I'm down.
Yeah. So I got the Heat. Because I thought they made a pretty decent signing Jimmy Butler. But I really don't think they're in contention for anything.
Yeah, I put him on like the low middle, like a high loser if they were a loser. Okay. Just because, like as you alluded to, they're not going to be contenders with just adding Jimmy Butler. I think they'll be like a 6, 7, or an 8 seed, maybe win a playoff round if there's like an injury like Oladipo going down like he did this year.
Yeah, I think playoffs for sure, but
yeah, I mean, I like Jimmy Butler as a player, but he's not a number 1 that you can build around. I would have been intrigued if they traded for Westbrook. They were the other team, not named the Rockets, that was interested in Westbrook. So if they made those 2 moves, I would put them on the level of a Philly or a Milwaukee.
Yeah.
So then they would get to a winner, but because they didn't,
that's definitely a winner.
And also they lost Josh Richardson. He's young. I like Josh Richardson as a player. I think he's going to do well in Philly. So I don't really get the move. I mean, they're just trying to stay relevant. So I mean, they're fucked. Like they have Dragic tied up in money. They have like Kelly Olynyk. Their only like really good young players are Justice Winslow and Bam Adebayo. And those are no like.
Yeah, even then, like they're not that great.
Yeah, they're kind of in like a weird place in the NBA. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah.
Tyler Hero's not bad either. Just a quick footnote.
That's the pick, right?
Mm-hmm. Guard from Kentucky. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'll give one of my losers just to switch it up a little bit. So we're just gonna kind of start off with just kind of like what I would consider the obvious ones. Like Kieran and I's list are going to be pretty similar. Like there's just some where it's just kind of common knowledge, like the Knicks, they lost.
Yeah, the Knicks absolutely lost.
They were telling us Zion, Kyrie, and KD. Obviously, they had no control on Zion. That's just odds. So I don't like fault them to not get Zion or anything. I'm not stupid. But I mean, just in the grand scheme of things, like they thought they were gonna get Kyrie, KD, and DeAndre Jordan. They got Julius Randle. Like you're a loser in that sense.
I like Julius Randle is good.
Yeah, I like Randle, but not that much.
It's just not enough.
Yeah, I mean, the people kind of sleep on like the Knicks' young core. They have a really good young core. They can go Trier, RJ, Knox, Randall, and Robinson. Like that's a really good starting five. That's a young core they can build around. Yeah.
They have Dennis Smith too, right?
Oh yeah, I forgot about Dennis Smith. So yeah, they could go Dennis Smith, Trier off the bench.
That's pretty decent.
Yeah, I mean, I know that they struck out on Kyrie and KD, and that obviously sucks. But like the Knicks' future is probably the brightest it's been since the Melo era. So. While the Knicks didn't get the big fish in free agency, they're still leading themselves in a good spot.
Yeah. All right.
So you have the Knicks as a loser too, right? You're not crazy.
Yeah, I do. I do. Yeah. So I mean, if we're doing another, you want to do another loser or?
No, let's just go back to the winners. So I like that order.
Winners.
I like that order.
I got the Clippers.
Yeah, I got them too. I mean, this
again,
is
really obvious.
Yeah.
Another situation where they managed to get two superstars, basically like went from like a playoff team to like a title contender.
Yeah, I think that they're probably my favorite to win it all right now.
Yeah, I mean Kawhi and George.
And then they got Pat Bev, they got Montrezl Harrell. Like, oh my god.
Yeah.
But so for me, obviously they're a winner, but they're kind of in the same place as the Nets for me because dude, they gave up. They basically 7 first. Now, I know it means Paul George and Kawhi Leonard. I know. I mean, those are two of the best two-way players. They're probably the top two-way players in the league, right?
Yeah.
So, I'm not saying I wouldn't make that move, but you better win a title. If they don't win a title, they're losers because, I think that the Thunder own, 2020 through 2026 of their picks. And, I mean, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, they have a player opt-out in 2 years. So if they decide that LA is not for them, and I don't know, they opt-out, go to, the Knicks or something, something on those lines, and then the Clippers suck, and then they're like the Nets. The Nets made that trade with the Celtics, and then they were just losing for the Celtics.
Yeah, that's true.
So right now, in the moment, they're big winners. They got Paul George, Kawhi Leonard, they re-signed Pat Bev on a team-friendly deal. But I'm just saying, if you look at it in the future, if they don't win a title, they're fucked.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's the game you play in the NBA, though. You got to go all in or nothing. So, I don't fault the move, but I feel like the media in general isn't looking at it at that perspective. Because, Paul George and Kawhi Leonard, it's not like they haven't been injured before. There's just a lot of stuff that can happen in the league.
I know, but you just can't pass that up.
Oh, I would do that 10 out of 10 times. Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I just kind of wanted to give that perspective.
Yeah, there is a definite possibility that it backfires, but it's definitely worth the risk.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if they beat out the Lakers this year and win a title, that changes the landscape. That changes everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll give one of my middlers. We're gonna go with the Thunder. Just kind of going. Well. Yeah, kind of going on that Clippers thing. Now I know that they lost Westbrook and George. Is adding on to the superstars that they lost. But I feel like Westbrook and George wouldn't have won anything. They weren't really giving me those vibes. They haven't even won a series together.
Yeah.
So while, an outsider would say, all right, run it back and see what happens next year with the Warriors breaking up and it kind of being like a duo league, I don't think it's a bad thing that they moved on from Westbrook. And the package they got back, they got a budding star in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I'm really high on him. They sent Paul George where he wanted to be, so they didn't kind of, burn that bridge. And I kind of respect that. I don't know, like, it's a business, sure, but I respect that they didn't send Paul to, like, Charlotte. You know what I'm saying? I kind of respect that from a front office standpoint.
Okay.
They got Danilo Gallinari, who's, it helps fill up the cap when they don't have money to spend, and he's a decent player. They have 15 first-round picks in the next 6 years. They sent Russell Westbrook to his preferred destination, which kind of same thing with George. I respect that a lot. Like, not screwing over the guy that gave you so much loyalty and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And they got Chris Paul, and I don't know what picks they got, but I know they have a Heat first, and I think the Heat are gonna suck. So that could be a top 5 pick. And we'll see what they get for Chris Paul. I don't think they're going to get anything, but we'll see what they get. We'll see if they can, send him to a contender and get this year's first. But I feel like the Thunder being able to reboot, this was the easiest. Because if it was common knowledge that, let's say, Paul George wanted out, then there's no way they would have got that type of deal for him. There's no way.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, they definitely got a lot of draft capital in return, which may or may not be late picks. It could be not late picks because it's quite far in the future.
That's true, but they also got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's really good. I know you don't follow the NBA like that, but it was his rookie year last year. Yeah, he played really good.
Right.
Yeah.
And another aspect of it, I remember reading this when they traded Jeremiah Grant to the Nuggets. Mm-hmm. They went below the luxury tax threshold, right? Yeah. So they don't have to pay. Because I think they were over the threshold for a long time.
They've been over.
Yeah, they've been over. So when you're over for that amount of time, you have to pay like a multiplier.
Yeah.
So now they don't have to pay that anymore.
And they got a first-round pick for Jeremiah Grant.
I don't know, Jeremiah Grant. I thought he was pretty decent.
Oh, he's good, but I mean, like, let's say, the Nuggets are definitely contenders this year.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm not like saying that it's gonna happen. But like, Jokic gets hurt, they miss the playoffs, lottery pick.
Yeah.
It's just that simple. That's how stacked the West is. One injury to that team, they're fucked.
Yeah, okay.
But that's kind of my thoughts on the Thunder. I mean,
pretty decent trade.
Yeah. I think the Thunder got a really good haul. I mean, and think about it, dude. They basically, they just going down like the line. They traded Serge Ibaka for Oladipo, and then they traded Oladipo for Paul George. So they basically got 7 first-round picks for Serge Ibaka.
I guess, but you also have to consider they chose Serge Ibaka over James Harden.
Nah, see, I actually kind of want to talk about that. Like, hindsight's 2020, so obviously we look back at it as a terrible move. But like at the time, right? So I don't know if you noticed, but like, so obviously the Thunder won the finals in 2012. James Harden had an awful finals.
Okay.
And during the finals, James Harden went to strip clubs multiple nights, and they came in the next day and played like shit. And then his agent was asking for a lot of money.
Okay.
And also back then, like, Serge Ibaka was a good way to guard guys like Tim Duncan. It was still kind of like a bigs league. So I don't fault them for that at all. I fault them for choosing Westbrook over Durant indirectly. That's what I fault them for.
Okay, fair enough.
But yeah, all right, give me a loser.
Loser, I got the Timberwolves.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty simple, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it really looked like they were going to get D'Lo.
They should have got D'Lo.
Yeah, I saw Karl-Anthony Towns, tweet out something, like a loading thing.
No, yeah, it was on his Instagram story.
Yeah, Instagram story. Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, he's going to Minnesota, and they just don't go to Minnesota.
Yeah, I know. I kind of feel bad because now, the Timberwolves are just fucked.
I know, dude, if I was a Timberwolves fan, that would be...
No, that's franchise changing because now Cat might want out and all that stuff.
Yeah, and that's decent. I know Wiggins isn't great, but you got Wiggins there.
Oh, Wiggins sucks.
You got D'Lo, Cat.
Wiggins blows.
Yeah, okay, he's not great, but he doesn't blow.
He's untradeable because of the money he makes.
That's true.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a good contract.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, the Timberwolves are in a weird spot because while they have one of the best, young bigs in the league, arguably the best, they're kind of just stuck because they're not going to make the playoffs this year with their current roster. I do like the Jarrett Culver pick, but I mean, he's a rookie. We don't really know what he is yet. And while Andrew Wiggins is a good player, he's not an all-star, and there's a lot of money tied up with him. So they might have to trade Cat at the deadline if he wants out, and then they're just gonna have to go full rebuild again.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Weird spot for the T-Wolves. All right, I'm gonna give one of my winners. I think what we're gonna do is we should just go over like the common knowledge, and then we should leave like the last ones kind of like hot takes.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
So my winner, another winner. I got the Sixers.
Yeah.
You have the Sixers as well. I mean, it's pretty easy. They got Al Horford from the Celtics. The Celtics, while losing Kyrie, they were still if they kept Al, they would be in a great place to contend next year. They stole Al from Boston. Al was one of the better defenders for Embiid, so they kind of took that away. So now there's not many players in the East that can guard Embiid. I like Tobias Harris. I don't think he's 5 years 180, but I like Tobias Harris.
That's the only thing.
Yeah, the money's bad.
Part I have a problem with. I don't know if Tobias Harris is worth that kind of money, but I think you kind of have to pay him that in order to keep that.
Yeah, just keep trying to contend. And also, while Jimmy Butler's better than Tobias Harris, I think that Jimmy Butler leaving kind of opens the door because Embiid's going to be their leader. And then, there's guys like Al Horford who can give like kind of like that veteran leadership. Hopefully Simmons can kind of grow into his own in the playoffs and stuff like that. And then they got Tobias Harris and Josh Richardson, who are non-egos. So I feel like while on paper, if they kept Butler over Harris, they would have a better team. I think that the chemistry and like the way it plays out on the court, because Jimmy Butler can't play off the ball. He's a ball-dominant player. So I think that it will work out where, a lineup of Simmons, Richardson, Harris, Horford, and Embiid, I feel like that will flow really nice. I feel like that's a really good lineup for the Sixers to compete for a title.
Yeah, and since Jimmy Butler, I believe he rejected their offer.
Yeah, they offered him a max, and he said no.
Yeah, you have to offer Tobias Harris in order to fill out that wing position, because otherwise you're just kind of left with a huge hole in that team. Mm-hmm. So I mean that makes sense. And then the Al Horford addition, and basically I would pick them in the East.
Yeah, I have them coming out of the finals, but it's just kind of hard to tell for me because I just don't know if Giannis can reach another gear.
Yeah, it's super early, but...
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But, no injuries. I think that the Sixers are definitely going in next year as the favorites to come out of the East.
Yeah, they just seem more well-rounded than the Bucks.
Yeah, they have a better lineup. They have a better depth now, and they're not one-dimensional. The Bucks are one-dimensional. Give the ball Giannis, get out the fucking way. I guess what they're... Yeah. All right, so give me a middler. Give me another one of your middlers. Like a common middler.
Wait, what did you say?
Like a more common middler, if you have one.
Okay, I got the Rockets.
Ooh, kind of a hot take. I have the Rockets too.
Oh, wait, where do you have the Rockets?
I do have the Rockets, yeah.
Oh, you have the Rockets. Okay, yeah. So, I mean, they acquired Westbrook.
They did.
I don't know how. I mean, that's like a star, but I don't know how with Harden and Westbrook. I don't know how it's going to gel because they're both pretty ball-dominant players.
Yeah, I agree.
There's only one basketball.
Okay, so kind of to, just carry on that type of conversation. I feel like the Rockets needed to make the trade just because the whole Chris Paul James Harden relationship. I feel like it was kind of too late to make that relationship good again. So I feel like it was a trade they needed to make. But on the court, Houston's a team about analytics, getting D'Antoni and shooting a bunch. And Russell Westbrook is a terrible player in terms of analytics, and he can't shoot.
Yeah.
So it really just kind of doesn't make sense, but it was a trade they needed to make. And who knows? Maybe Westbrook and Harden want to play together. So if it somehow works, the Houston's definitely a contender for me. I'm definitely gonna watch Houston this year as a contender. Definitely. No.
Okay.
And that's why the middlers. Because, they got Westbrook for Chris Paul. They got Chris Paul in the locker room, but I just don't know how it's going to work.
Yeah, I think out of the middlers, this is one of the teams with the most upside.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Definitely more upside than the Heat, obviously.
The Heat are fucked.
Yeah. If this works, it could actually be pretty good. I don't think they would come out of the West, but...
Okay. So, for the loser, I'm just going to kind of, as the old saying goes... kill two birds with one stone. I got the Raptors. Oh, I already said the next. My bad. Oh, I got the Raptors. They lost Kawhi. Let's just move on.
You don't really need us anymore.
All right. So for me personally, I have 2 more winners, 2 more middlers, and 1 more loser.
Okay.
That's what I have.
I got 1 more winner.
Okay.
2 more middlers and 1 more loser.
Okay, who's your loser? Let's just go with the loser first.
Loser, I got the Hornets.
Oh, I had the Hornets too. I crossed them up by that.
Yeah, I don't know. They have the worst team in the NBA.
They're in the worst spot in the NBA because they lost Kemba. They gave Terry Rozier way too much money.
Yeah,
and their scouts are terrible. They picked Malik Monk over Donovan Mitchell. They picked PJ Washington this year. He's gonna suck. They're so fucked. They're so fucked. They're so fucked. They don't even have anybody good.
I don't know what you expect Terry Rozier to do for your team.
I mean, I like Rozier on the 11 to 14 range, not the fucking 18 to 20.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
God.
Is he supposed to drop 25 a night and lead your team? I don't know.
The Hornets are a type of team where if you rebuild them in 2K, it's such a struggle that you just don't even want to rebuild them. There's just nothing exciting about that team.
I'm pretty sure all 7 Hornets fans left.
Damn.
They left the building.
If you just think about their roster, Batum is making $25 a year. Michael Kidd-Gilchrist will never be able to shoot. Malik Monk sucks. Cody Zeller, oh my god. Oh god.
Yeah.
I think they saw a Bismack Biyombo making $17 a year. Oh god. Shit. Just move them somewhere. Just move them.
It's not great.
All right. So weird. All right. I'll give one of my middlers. I kind of want to save my loser. I got the Bucks as a middler because I think it's obviously good that they kept Chris Middleton. I just think he's heavily overrated. All he really does in the offense, if you watch that game, is he just shoots. He's an okay defender. He's not a liability, but he's not a lockdown. And same thing goes with creating his own shot. He can create it, but you can't rely on it. So I would have much rather had Malcolm Brogdon on the money he got than Middleton on the money he got. So that's why I have my middlers. While they kept Middleton, I would rather have Brogdon. They were the closest loser out of the middlers. They were really close.
Okay, I can respect that.
All right, who's your winner? Who's your last winner?
I got the Warriors.
I have the Warriors too. Oh.
Yeah, because they got D'Lo, even though they lost KD. Re-signed Klay Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
You had to re-sign Klay Thompson.
Oh, yeah, you have to. Yeah.
You got D'Lo, so they still have 3 stars if you want to count Draymond.
Yeah, for me, I think that the Warriors knew that they were gonna lose Durant since early on in the season. So while it wasn't common knowledge when he was making his decision, I think that everyone kind of knew that this was Durant's last year. He was just trying to get his 3rd ring and then, go somewhere else.
Right.
So I think they did good to keep it under wraps. They got really good compensation. They got, I think D'Lo's 23 coming off an All-Star year. They could either keep him or they could trade him. They maybe would get a guy like Bradley Beal if Washington's interested in that type of trade. They could get a really good player out of it. Yeah.
I think they said today that they're not going to trade him.
Yeah, but it's just you just don't know until it plays out on the court. So right now they can say it, but if it just doesn't work on the court.
Giants GM said the same thing about Odell.
Yeah. I just kind of want to wait and see on the court. Anyone can say anything in the offseason. Kyrie, anything can happen in the offseason.
Yeah.
But, and also they got, as you said, they re-signed Klay Thompson. They got Kayvon Looney back on a friendly deal. And this deal kind of kept them in contention. I know no one's talking about it. Everyone thinks it's over. But I think the Warriors, if Klay comes back healthy and let's say maybe a February or March, and they have some time to gel on the court, I think they can win. I think they can win the title. I think Curry will get back to his MVP form this year. I think D'Lo will give them 20, 25 a game. Clay's Clay. I think Draymond will give them a spark in the playoffs. I don't know. Everyone's oh, the dynasty's over. I'm dude, I wouldn't speak so soon.
I know. It's
everyone just wants it to be over.
Unfortunately, we were so close.
Yeah.
If D'Lo just went to the Timberwolves,
if D'Lo went to the Timberwolves, then they would make the playoffs, but they would be a 6 or a 7. So their road to the finals would be really tough.
Yeah.
Well, now that they got D'Lo, I think they're going to be a top 4 seed. So it's going to be interesting.
Probably.
All right. So I have one of each left, so I'll just go with I'll go with a middler. Screw it. I have the Lakers as a middler.
Yeah,
so
do I.
I include Anthony Davis, the AD trade, as a part of the offseason.
Okay.
So obviously, like, they finally got to capitalize on AD. They gave LeBron a sidekick. AD is one of the. I think he's kind of underrated because he's been in New Orleans. I would like to see how he does in the playoffs. I know he went around against Portland a few years back when he had Boogie, but I don't know. We'll see. They also, speaking of Boogie, they signed Boogie on a good deal. They got guys like Quinn Cook.
That's a pretty good deal.
Rondo, but I put him on the middler because it's not that they missed out on Kawhi. It's that since they missed out on Kawhi, they couldn't really get the free agents they wanted. So I think the best free agent they got, and not named like DeMarcus Cousins, is Danny Green. And he's all right, but like it's just nothing you're gonna write home about. So that's why they're a middler.
Yeah, no, I agree with all those points. Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously it would have been nice if you could get Kawhi.
I mean, if they got Kawhi, the season's over. They wouldn't.
Yeah,
it's simple.
And I mean, if you want to count the Anthony Davis trade, I think they're probably more of a winner.
I don't know. It's just Kawhi dragged it on so long that they were kind of handcuffed. Just like they couldn't really.
Yeah.
They couldn't really. I think they were trying to get like Pat Bev. They were trying to get guys like JJ Redick. They were, and all of their targets just signed before Kawhi did. So obviously you have to wait in the hopes that Kawhi goes to. But that's why they're a middler for me. Yeah. I get it.
I mean, they still, considering the situation that they were kind of left empty-handed with Kawhi not choosing them.
Yeah.
They managed to pull together pretty well. Like, they got Cousins, Green, Bradley.
Yeah, they rebounded nice. I just think
it's decent.
It's just not enough for me to consider them as winners.
Of course, they have Alex Caruso. So
he's not even that bad. Not that bad. All right, so
yeah.
All right, how many? So do you have one more team?
Let me check.
Oh jeez.
I think that's it.
Okay, so I got two more teams. I have a winner. I think the Jazz are winners. They traded for Mike Conley. Mike Conley is heavily underrated. Never been an All-Star, but he's deserved to be one in his career. Yeah, he's never been an All-Star. But I think he's really good, and I think that him and Mitchell will be a really good backcourt. They also signed Bojan Bogdanovic. So I think they still have Rudy Gobert too. I think the Jazz are setting up to be contenders in the West. I feel like they're kind of an underrated team. They have a really good lineup. I don't know. I just kind of look at that team. I'm like, okay, they're kind of putting something together there. So I put them in the winners because no one's really choosing Utah in free agency. Let's just keep it real. No one that will kind of change the league. And then my last team, I have a loser. I have the Celtics. So everyone's like, oh, they got Kemba. What a rebound. So here's what I think. Right. First off, they lost Kyrie. That's a loss in itself. You traded a lottery pick that turned out to be Sexton. I know Isaiah and Crowder suck now, but it's still a lottery pick, and you traded that for one playoff run of Kyrie, and Kyrie was terrible in those playoffs. Okay. So I think that definitely, that's a loss in itself. They lost Al Horford. I think that's a bigger loss than Kyrie. I think if Al Horford re-upped in Boston, they would have themselves a rim protector, a guy that can not stop but kind of contain Giannis and Embiid a little bit, just kind of, you get what I'm saying, you can kind of contain them, and also,
you can still stretch the floor too.
Yeah, and I think it says something about their culture, it's not like Al chose the Spurs or something, like a veteran runner organization. He chose the Sixers with guys like Simmons, guys like Embiid, kind of young guys. So I feel that puts guys like Brown and Tatum in a bad light. Also, I think that Gordon Hayward is the problem with their chemistry last year. People forget that Kyrie had a year in Boston and there were no chemistry issues. So I think that Gordon Hayward coming into the offense and Brad Stevens kind of force-feeding him minutes kind of started the chemistry problems, and then it just kind of spiraled out of control there. And then lastly, Kyrie leaves, right? And he gets KD to pair up with him in Brooklyn. So for the next 3 years, after this year, for 3 years, they have to deal with that. And then also Al Horford goes to their rival in Philly. So I just think that it was just a loss. They got Kemba, sure, but Kemba doesn't really move the needle for me. He's a nice player to have, but it's not like they turn into contenders. I don't consider the Celtics contenders this year.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, so that's why they're a loser for me. I just feel like everything that happened in if they had Al Horford, they wouldn't be a loser, but they lost him. So yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. So after that conversation, there's kind of like a bird's eye view of the NBA. So as the discussion proves, there's so much player movement and NBA free agency.
Yeah.
Now I would ask you, like, as like a fan, is player mobility good for a sport? Like, is like this amount of player mobility good for a sport?
Yeah, I think for a couple of reasons.
Okay.
One, I think generally the players having more power and influence on like where they go is, I don't know, deserved, I guess.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I feel like they have the right to like make these choices for themselves.
Okay.
I don't know. And plus, just the parity, like take the Clippers, or no, take the Nets actually. The Nets like turn around in a year, and now they're like star-studded.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
It's just nice to see like teams like the Clippers turning it around super quick, Lakers as well.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. It keeps it interesting as a fan. Plus, I think the NBA has the best off season.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Like the amount of huge players that move, you would not see that anywhere else.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. It's super interesting to watch. I don't know. That's what it's about. It's entertainment. So yeah.
So for me, I think player mobility is awful for sports. Like,
Really?
I think this level is bad. So, I agree with their points that it's good that a player has the right to determine where he wants to play, and I'm not taking that right away from him. But if you're a small market team, it's almost impossible to compete in this NBA.
That's true.
It's literally impossible. Like, just look at the teams that are good. Like, let's just go through them. The LA Lakers, it's LA. LA Clippers, it's LA. Houston Rockets. Houston's I think the fourth biggest city in America. So obviously, who wouldn't want to go there? You got Philly, that's a big city. And then the only way teams stay relevant, like small markets I'm talking about, is if they make really risky trades like the Thunder did. They stayed relevant, and like the Raptors did, they won a title because of it. But those opportunities don't come around a lot. And then the other way is if they get, like, the next guy. Like, Cleveland stay relevant because they had LeBron. And Milwaukee's going to stay relevant because they got Giannis.
Yeah.
But I feel like, if you don't have that, there's going to be, like, 12 teams that just suck for, like, the next 10 years. And I feel like that's bad. As just a consumer of the sport, that's why I like the NFL. I feel like the NFL has enough player mobility where, Le'Veon Bell can go to the Jets, but it doesn't shift the power of the league.
Yeah. Also, the NFL, it's like one player moving has less of an impact than in the NBA.
Yeah, unless it's like a top tier quarterback.
Yeah.
But that never happens. So that's kind of that. I feel like it's just kind of like in the NFL, it takes more skill if you're in a larger market to be good, just because you have to have really good drafting. You have to have free agency. You can get the signings, but they don't always turn out. And when a free agency signing doesn't work in the NFL, you're fucked. But in the NBA, you get what I'm saying. Like
yeah.
And also, like, as a fan, like, if you grow up in, like, LA, that's lit. The Lakers are competitive again. But what if you grow up in Minnesota? If you're a Timberwolves fan, when the fuck are the Timberwolves going to be good again?
Yeah.
They're going to probably have to trade Cat, and that's like a 6-year rebuild. Or if you're a Thunder fan, because you're in Oklahoma City, Westbrook didn't want to play for you guys anymore. Paul George didn't want to play for you guys anymore. And now you guys are relying on 5th graders to be good. Like, this is what I'm saying. So, obviously, if you're just kind of like a, how would I say this? If you're just kind of like a fan of the sport, you're not like a hardcore fan of wherever you're from or whatever your ties are, then yeah, it's lit. So much parity, big markets, and that's kind of what me and you are, so it's lit for us. But I was just kind of thinking about it like, dude, when was the last time the Pistons were good? Just like the small market teams.
No one wants to live in Detroit.
Yeah, like the Kings, they haven't made the playoffs in 10 years.
Yes,
I don't know, and I feel like in the NFL, like, season to season, everything changes, and that's what I love about the NFL.
Yeah.
But like in the NBA, like, we know the Hornets aren't making the playoffs in the next 5 years. We know. There's no chance. 0. 5 years, no chance. You can't say that about any NFL team.
That is, yeah.
You can't even definitively say that any NFL team is going to miss the playoffs. Because who the fuck knows?
You really can't. You you really never know.
I think the only team you could really say is the Dolphins, but I would say, what if Josh Rosen pops off?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I love about the NFL. There's parity everywhere.
And with a new coach, the Dolphins they could get going.
That's what I'm saying. So the only problem with the NFL is I hate the franchise tags. That's what I would fix. But I just feel like quarterbacks don't move, but it's not like they don't have the option to. I just feel like there's so much money being thrown around. But yeah, I feel like obviously player mobility is good if you just like basketball, which is kind of where me and Kieran are at. But if you're like a fan of if you grow up in Detroit, you're fucked. Like you're just fucked. You're just in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I agree.
So that's kind of the downside, yeah.
That makes sense.
All right, we'll go on to the entertainment topic. We finally have some relevant music to talk about. It happened. Dreamville dropped their album after 5 months of fucking recording it. God damn.
Yeah.
All right, so this is a quick PSA. Since I have appendicitis, I have not listened to the full album, but I've listened to every song. So,
wait, what?
No, I'm saying if I was grading an album, I would just want to listen to it front to back in the same sitting. So I've listened to every song, just not in the same sitting.
Oh, okay. All right, fair enough.
So I couldn't tell you what the flow of the album is or anything, but if we went through track by track, I could tell you if I like it or not. That's kind of what I was prefacing.
That makes sense, yeah.
So what do you think about the album?
I think it's pretty decent considering you just took a bunch of people and recorded in a studio for 10 days.
Yeah.
I thought generally they paired artists pretty well.
Okay.
With their sounds, J. Cole on the opening track, J. Cole, Loot, DaBaby.
Yeah, that was my favorite track. Yeah.
You get Jid and J. Cole on a few tracks together. That works.
Mm-hmm.
Cause and Reason on Lambo Truck. I know you hate that song, but
I just hate. I like both of their
verses.
Yeah, verses. I was blank on
the hook is awful.
The hook just absolutely murdered the song.
Gave the okay.
God.
And they're like, yeah, no, let's release that. But
put that out to the public.
Yeah, Cause and Reason. That was a fun verse
that was a good verse.
The whole TDE Dreamville thing.
I think Ari Lennox and Ty Dolla $ign. I think it was Got Me or something. I feel like they worked well together.
Yeah, Ty Dolla $ign has a pretty great voice.
Yeah,
also Self Love with Ari Lennox and Baby Rose.
Yeah, that worked well together too.
Yeah, they're both pretty similar singers.
Yeah.
You look at Wells Fargo. I know you don't like that song either.
I don't like that song, no.
JID and Earth Gang. And Buddy. Yeah, they all bring this energy that I think if you take some other artists, they could not provide.
Okay. Yeah, so for me, this was kind of exactly what I expected. I expected there to be some good songs. Some songs that I like, some songs that I would add to my playlist. And I got those. I got Under the Sun, and then there's some songs on the bubble that I would have to listen to again, right?
Yeah.
But it wasn't it was gonna be nowhere close to "I'll Tell Pimp a Butterfly." It's it's not even close. It's not an album that means anything. It's just kind of
it's just a fun.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's kind of what I expected. It's just kind of these albums, these different artists, part of the same brand, got together, recorded some tracks, and that's kind of where it ends for me, really.
Yeah. So some of my favorite tracks. Under the Sun.
Yeah, I think that's the best track on it.
The verses are all pretty solid. Kendrick hook, you can't go wrong with a Kendrick hook.
It's kind of the vibe, too.
It's just a nice opening to the track. Production's pretty solid. I like this beat switch in the intro. I really like when the artists do that,
Yeah.
It's singing fades into a beat. I don't know. Another track I like, Sacrifices at the end.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like we should have got some more Saba. I feel like...
Yeah, Saba's underrated.
Yeah, no, I feel like we should have got more of him. I don't know.
Every time he's on a track that I listen to, I'm like, yeah, this is pretty good, dude.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you got Earth Gang, J. Cole. Earth Gang was... Weirdly enough, I thought Earth Gang, on each track they were on, they did great, except for their own track.
Damn.
You remember that track?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That was just a boring track.
Yeah, I feel like Earth Gang, they're just kind of more of a a feature.
Yeah.
For me, anyways, I don't feel like they can carry their own weight on their own song.
I don't know. Maybe they have such a unique sound.
Yeah, maybe they just didn't get like the right beat on the song.
I thought this was probably a poor track to use.
Okay.
Because I didn't think it was the best they could have done.
Okay.
But that's okay. Also, one point where I thought they didn't match up artists very well was on, which song was it? Ooh. It was the one with J. Cole and Young Nudy.
Oh, was it?
Sunset. Yeah. I don't know. I did not like that. I feel like J. Cole had to like water down his verse.
Yeah, J. Cole had to like fit himself to the feature or whoever it was.
And his hook that he does, it sounds like a Drake hook on like Scorpion.
Yeah, the hook was weird. I hated that.
Yeah, it was just sleepy. I need more from that.
Yeah, I feel like just I gotta in all it was kind of like what you would expect from a collab project like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if we're rating it, I'll give it a 6.
I give it a 6 as well.
Yeah, just kind of like a little bit above average, but nothing special.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah.
Wait, one more thing.
Oh.
I think I heard some people say that like they felt it was super I don't know, like slightly claustrophobic, like there was too many people.
I only felt that on Wells Fargo and Costa Rica. Those are mine.
I actually feel like I feel like Costa Rica kind of works. I know it's like a 3-minute song and there's like 10 artists.
It didn't work for me. It didn't work.
I don't know. I thought there wasn't like too much difference in between the artists. They all kind of come in and do their thing and then get out. That it works decently well. I don't know. I feel like one major note, they did Vince Staples so wrong.
He had like 20 seconds.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I was like, wow. Damn.
I saw that on the track list. J.I.D., J. Cole, Vince Staples.
Yeah, that was like that 1993 song, right?
No, that was on Rembrandt.
Oh, yeah, I don't know the song. Well, yeah, I know the song you're talking about, yeah.
Vince Staples had like such a good part too. And they
I know. And then they just cut him off.
That was tough.
Yeah. Yeah, alright. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, so.
Kind of what you expect from this album. Wasn't bad. Wasn't special, though.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just want to touch on something else in the entertainment. So, Chance is dropping something either this Friday or next Friday.
Oh, is that right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, he said sometime in July, and usually, I mean, most music drops on Fridays. So this Friday is the 19th. Next Friday is the 26th. And then the Friday after that, we're in August. So, I mean, if Chance can count correctly, it's either this Friday or next Friday.
Right.
So, I mean, just kind of like a preview of that album. Like, it's it'll take a minute. So, I listened to Acid Rap for the first time on my trip. I mean, I think it's easily the best Chance project I listened to. I haven't listened to the project before. I think it's called like Day 10 or something. I don't know what it's called.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to that.
Yeah.
So I can't touch on that. But between Acid Rap and Coloring Book, Acid Rap blows that thing out of the water. I just feel like it's just better in every respect. So for me, I feel like this album has potential, especially since it's the summer. I feel like Chance's vibe and the music he lets make fits the summer. Yeah. I just hope that he just doesn't go in reverse again.
Yeah, I don't need another Groceries.
Yeah, every single he released like 4 singles last year, and he released Groceries, and they all fucking suck.
Yeah, it's worrying.
They all sucked.
He released a song "Cross Me" with Ed Sheeran.
Oh, I know. Yeah,
I had not a fan.
It's just like, come on, Chance.
If he can just come out with another Coloring Book.
No, I need a 2019. Like, I need an updated Acid Rap. That's what I need.
Yeah, but I don't think we're gonna get there. I mean, I think Acid Rap is probably his best project.
Oh, I think it is easily.
I don't think there's a huge gap between that and Coloring Book.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, I think they're both trying to accomplish the same goal. It's kind of like a feel-good album.
Yeah.
So I think Acid Rap just does that a lot better. That's just kind of like the way I listen to it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'll definitely listen to the album. Definitely.
I'm totally down for another Coloring Book.
Just like, I just kind of want at least one good song on it. One song that I add to my playlist. That's how I'm going into this. Because if it's not J. Cole, Kanye, or Kendrick, everyone else, that's like the parameters for me. Just give me one song where I'll add it to the playlist.
Okay.
And I mean, Dreamville fulfilled that. Drake fulfilled that. Let's hope Chance does. Drake had... Yeah, Nice for What? I like that song.
Oh, I thought... For some reason I thought Drake dropped, like...
Oh.
Yeah, I was like, when did... Yeah, never mind. It's fine.
Alright, we'll go into some miscellaneous topic. This is kind of like a different... Usually we kind of go, like, conceptual thinking. You know, like, doesn't relate to current events, but this one we're going to. So, I think everyone's heard of the Area 51 raid. Now, I think we're up to 500,000 signatures. So, what, like, just, like, as a project, what are your thoughts on this raid?
I mean, I love the idea.
Okay.
Because, like, why not, you know?
No. They can't stop all of us?
Yeah, I mean, they can't.
Yeah.
By pure numbers, it can be done.
Yeah, I mean, if 500,000 people show up to the border of Area 51, we're going to get in there unless the government just shoots them all down.
Unless it's a quick genocide.
Yeah, unless it's like a quick nuke.
Yeah, in which case, that's just fair play. But
no, but in which case, the aliens are real.
Oh yeah, if they like go off to
then
that's concerning.
Yeah, that's questionable.
I'm concerned.
Yeah.
So I mean, but realistically, if we're all being realistic about it, I don't know how it's gonna actually happen.
Oh yeah, this isn't gonna happen.
For people to be like, oh yeah, going to Area 51, but they're just not actually gonna show up. Because...
See, I think that I think by the time that I think it's supposed to take place September 20th.
Yeah.
So I think by the time that this happens, there's gonna be at least like 1 to 2 million signatures on that petition.
Okay.
So out of those people, I think there's going to be at least like 10 to 20 grand that show up.
Okay, I just looked it up. Apparently, it's up to 1.2 million.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So now we will be at 5 when it happens.
Yeah, there's an article. 1.2 million want to raid Area 51 to, quote, see them aliens.
I mean, that's what they want to do.
What I am impressed by, this is like just some random meme that someone started, like, oh, it's raid Area 51. The amount of like support is crazy.
Oh no, that's what social media is now. It's like one guy says something and it gains so much traction. Like it's an unbelievable amount of traction.
I don't know. I guess I underestimated.
I mean, if we're at like 5 million signatures going into this event, like there's gotta be at least like 10,000 people that show up.
My question is will the government prepare?
It depends what's in Area 51.
I know, but like, even just a bunch of people showing up, like, do they have to prepare? Like, I mean, surely
they don't. Oh, well, all right. If 1.2 million fucking people show up, yeah, they do. Yeah. But I mean, I don't think that there's gonna be that many numbers. It just kind of depends on what's actually in Area 51. So, just to give my take on it. I don't think Area 51 has aliens in it. I just think that it's held for things that would lead to aliens. You get what I'm saying? So I don't think they have like live aliens just chilling in Area 51, but maybe they have like records of something like that, something related to aliens, but not the aliens themselves. Because I think the government's smart enough. You know, when people started talking about Area 51, all right, they're like, okay, let's move this to.
Oh, you think they move stuff?
I think that it's in Antarctica.
To Area 52?
Yeah, I think that the aliens, if the world knows about them and there's a base for it, I think it's in Antarctica, because who the fuck goes to Antarctica?
My question is, yeah, alright, if they were actually hiding some, like, super secretive stuff in Area 51, why would it be so public where it is?
Yeah, that's why I don't think that there's anything there.
Yeah, I don't know, if I was the government, I would... And I wanted to hide something or keep something private.
Antarctica?
But I would not like be like, oh, so we have this place where there may not be some like.
Well, I think it's a great thing. Like, so let's just say, I know that you're not a believer in aliens, but like if they're actually real, I think it's a good kind of like hint to say that they are real, and also they make so much money on tourism. They make so much fucking money.
Yeah. So
I think, it's a good publicity thing, but I mean, I don't think the raid's gonna work. We don't have enough time to cover like the whole if aliens are a real thing or have aliens contacted us. That could be a whole different episode if you guys want to see that. But just like, I think that if we were to, have aliens on Earth and we were hiding them from, not just the U.S. or the world, they wouldn't be in a place where everyone thinks they are.
Yeah. And just to give my 2 cents, I don't think it's aliens in there. I think most likely it's some sort of extreme military weapon that they're testing.
Maybe. I could see that.
I'd say that's probably the most likely thing. Well, it's kind of like the secret, like, nuclear happened during World War II.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd say that's, if there were to be something, that would be it.
I just really hope that if the raid actually happens, that there's like, if you ask me what do you want out of this raid, here's what I want, right? I want 1.5 million people to show up. Everyone's Instagram living. Everyone fucking raids the shit. Everyone, there's 1.45 million people get fucking shut off. 50 grand, make it in. And then you're on someone's live stream and he turns. There's an alien. And then everyone's Instagram live shut down. That's what I want.
Really,
that'd be fucking
really
lit.
specific. That's really specific.
Yeah, I was talking about it with one of my friends earlier.
Yeah.
Dude, you know how fucking unreal that would be? There's 10 people in this base or something. Let's say only 10 get in. And they're all live streaming and they all turn and there's aliens. And it just cuts out. Bruh, that'd be fucking lit. Fucking lit.
That's like a movie.
Or they turn, it's Hitler and Tupac playing poker. There's some fucked up shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's what I want out of it. I just want to know what's in Area 51, but then kind of be left with the cliffhanger.
Okay, I mean, there's no way we do, just because,
Imagine, dude, if there's 1.5 mil?
And, you can't just drive up to, Area 51.
Now you gotta run.
It's, right there. Yeah, you can't just drive up,
I think it's probably, dude, if there's 1.5 million people, it's gonna happen.
Yeah, but there's not.
Dude, people don't, dude, think about it. If there's actually 1.5 million people, that's equivalent to, if there was, hold on, let me just think of that. If there's, 30 MetLife stadiums, all full. That's how many fucking people there are. Do you know that's so many fucking people?
Yeah.
If they all want to get into one place, you can't kill them all. You really can't kill them all.
Yeah, you can.
Alright, so that's probably just going to cap off the episode. Next time, I mean, you guys are free to leave your suggestions down in the comments below. Yeah, but next episode we'll probably talk about the NFL a little bit, or maybe some college football, just football in general. It's starting to get to that time where, football's starting to come back a little bit. Training camp's about to start. Preseason's a few weeks away.
Yeah.
And then maybe, if something drops, we'll talk about it. And that's kind of what you can expect. Somebody watch this video. Come on. We need it.
That's really desperate.
If someone's here right now, dude, you're the real MVP. You're the guy.
Yeah, leave a comment or something so we know.
Yeah. So and and everyone watching this video, get us to 10 subs. We're gonna have that 10 sub special.
That's sad.
We need the 10 sub special.
That's so sad.
Dude, we're gonna get there one day.
Yeah, one day.
Hard work and dedication. Jesus Christ. Alright.
We need to stop it there. All right.
We'll catch you in the next one, boys.
Peace.